Okay, good morning and welcome to the Seneca County Commissioner meeting. It is Thursday, August 24th, 10 a.m. We're in a regular board session and we'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please pray. Dear Lord, please help guide us and give us wisdom here as we go to discuss issues facing our county. Please help us to represent our constituents and people the best that we can. Help us to work together to find solutions for our issues. And in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
Commissioner Schuff,
Here.
Commissioner Franker.
Here. So at this time, I will accept the motion to approve the digital audio recording of our prior meeting way back on August 17th during our regular board session.
So moved.
Second. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. So we have a guest today, Sharon George, and I'd just like to say a couple things. So as commissioners, we are assigned committees. But we, every January, we're assigned committees, and all three of us have had the privilege to work with you on your committee. And I mean, when I first started, you were one of the first meetings I went to, was with you, and I just was, my eyes were open at all the things that you do and how you brought all the departments together and how much need there is in the county and how much support there is in the county. And so I want to thank you for that, and I appreciate your service and your impact you made on the county. So you're leaving it in a better place, and we're going to wish you well, as tomorrow's your last day and you move on. So thank you for everything. And so that's what I have to say. You guys want to add anything?
No, I just want to concur, as I said, that you was one of the first folks to reach out to me when I come into office here, and it's been a pleasure working with you. And again, yeah, it's the facet that what you've done is amazing, and sincerely appreciate what you've done for the county.
And your organization does a lot of good, and people don't always see it, but I mean, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, and it helps a lot of people and individuals here in the community, help bring them up and strengthen them. So we're going to miss you and wish you the best in the future moving forward.
So you're welcome, and we wanted to bring you in to recognize you for all that you did. We do have a proclamation, and Commissioner Schuff will read that, and then we would like you to speak. So you have a minute to gather your thoughts. Thank you. Yeah.
So we have a proclamation here honoring Sharon George's exemplary leadership for the Seneca County Family and Children First Council. Whereas Sharon George, with an enduring commitment to service, has dedicated more than 21 years as the executive director of the Seneca County Family and Children First Council. And whereas her visionary leadership and dedication have fostered partnerships, identified service gaps, and nurtured programs that uplift families and children within our community and beyond. And whereas George's legacy is marked by her tenacity in creating and expanding pivotal programs such as the Teen Pregnancy Prevention, Help Me Grow, and Poverty Simulators. And whereas under her guidance, FCFC's budget has grown substantially, reaching an annual allocation of $2.1 million. And whereas her dedication extends her service on various boards and her role as an adjunct professor at Tiffin University. And whereas the impact of her work resonates through the transformed lives and those that she has touched, leaving an incredible imprint on our community. And whereas, in recognition of her outstanding service, an open house will be held on August 22nd to celebrate her legacy. Now therefore, the Seneca County Board of Commissioners gratefully acknowledges Sharon George for her visionary leadership, innovative contributions, and unwavering commitment to Seneca County's families and children. In witness whereof, we, the Seneca County Board of Commissioners, have hereunto set our hand to this proclamation this 24th day of August, in the year of our Lord, 2023. Commissioners Anthony Paradiso, Tyler Schuff, and Bill Franker. Thank you.
Would you like to come up and say a few words?
Sure.
Thank you very much. It has been an honor to serve the county and to collaborate with the county agencies. We rival any other county in the state as far as collaboration, and we have always had that. We work so closely and serve the same families as Department of Job and Family Services and the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board and the Health District and all of the county partners, including, SCAT and the YMCA and the Fostoria and Tiffin, United Ways, and just anyone in the county who works with children and families. And we've been able to identify gaps in service, beginning with service coordination wraparound. Seneca Mentoring Youth Links was created because we didn't have a mentoring program, and START that Jill oversees, and just countless programs when gaps were identified, and thousands of families have been impacted. And one of the things that we're most proud of, in addition to serving all those and helping to direct families to resources, is multi-system youth. So we've been able to collaborate when a partner has identified the need for residential treatment for a child. We have been able to stave off 20 custody relinquishments. So families have been able to access things such as residential placement, which is incredibly expensive, and most families cannot afford it. So 20 families have been stabilized through the collaboration of the county, and thereby reducing trauma to a great extent. Handle with Care is another great example of collaboration. The first responders notify the schools when a traumatic event has happened in a home, and thereby reducing secondary trauma for children. So yeah, I'm just incredibly grateful and honored to have worked with such a amazing, compassionate group. We have a fantastic team at the Family and Children First Council staff level, and they're going to carry on the great work that we've all worked so hard to create. So it's been a great pleasure. I still am a homeowner, so I still have ties to Tiffin, and my adult children live here, so I'm not going too far. But it's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Yeah, would you like a photo, Joe? Come on up. Please, come on up. Come on back, we'll get you. This seems to be our our setting, yeah.
Jill, you want to go first?
Actually, go ahead, Jimmy.
Okay, I'm gonna step all nice and close. I'm gonna.
You have your own
Paparazzi, yep.
All right, here first, and then I'll grab one.
Thank you.
Oh. Thank you. All right, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Hey, God bless you. Yeah, we'll see. Thank you. Barb, you hiding?
No.
Yeah. You can sneak out, Sharon, if you like. Yeah, it's up to you. Thank you. Yeah,
Take
thank
care.
you. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Good to
Thank
see
you.
you again.
You too.
That's always nice. Commissioner reports. You wanna go first?
Yeah, I have a short one
You're first
actually,
next
so
time.
yeah, so been at Sandusky County Fair with the kids and granddaughters showing. Been a great time there. Actually on Tuesday was able to visit with Representative Click and Senator Reineke, and they had, along with them, they had Brian Baldrige, who's the director of Ag, was up there kind of going around the fair, meeting and greeting everybody, so I had
That was nice.
yeah, great conversation with those guys, and yeah, it was good to be there. And then again, back to the fair after today, and get wrapped up for the weekend. So been good to see everybody there, and it's always good to visit with the commissioners there and see what the other side of the county has on it. So
I was there, but I left.
great, yeah, I
So-
guess, yeah.
We both watched your grandkids show.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. Well, good. Commissioner Schaff.
Yeah, not much to report on here today, but good event last Thursday here for Taste of Tiffin. Good turnout for that, even though the weather didn't cooperate. And then we did have the regatta on Sunday, and we're ballparking somewhere over 500 people in attendance. There's over 250 cars we went around and counted, but 22 entries for the boats. Another successful year for the Summer Food for Kids program. So
So that's where the money goes. Yeah.
Yeah, so like the teachers do a lot of it during the school year, but in the summer it kind of gets dropped. So we get with Calvert kids here and they need service hours, so we're bagging usually 300 plus lunches per week, physically giving them to the kids. Because we found out
All
that
summer long.
all summer long, you know, every week we're packing the bags and stuff. But really good turnout, fun event, and glad the weather held out for us. It just does a lot of good, and it's our 7th year doing it. But yeah, that's about all I have.
Nice. So Monday night, Don from EMS and I went over to Sycamore, met with the chief, assistant chief, and EMS personnel. The Sycamore Fire is proposing a fire EMS levy, so they're combining things, and we had a really nice discussion with them. Part of the new EMS district in Seneca County includes Eden Township and Sycamore Fire and EMS services Eden Township. So we're in this transition period where they're kind of refocused the direction they're headed. We're kind of refocusing on a new direction, and it was a really good meeting as far as how we could work together, and just good open discussion as far as how we see things playing out through this into next year. It was real cordial. I think Don it was good. So I'll just leave it at that, where the Seneca County, the joint district, will be entering into a contract with them. All the contracts, third-party contracts, are in the joint district. We began discussions. When I say we, I was there, but discussions have begun to renew that for next year, and there's not going to be a problem. It's just working out a few details. So that was good.
Okay.
County Administrator report.
I have a couple things. I was sent a Corsa voting designation form. They do this, it's an annual update just to make sure that they have the correct voting representation for the county. I believe the voting representative has always been the administrator, so I will get that changed, and then the alternate is usually the board president.
So you'll be there, you'll go down to that meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, that's normally how we do it, the annual meeting. And good.
And I
So do
believe-
we need a resolution on that?
No, I just have to change the
Okay, we're good.
documentation, so.
Okay.
I have a couple of things regarding our buildings. Update for the CSB building. The ductwork company was in Monday. They started laying plastic down so they could get started. They are going to begin removing the ductwork on Monday. So we're probably looking 4 to 8 weeks for that process to be complete.
Monday the 28th?
Yes.
We'll start.
Yeah. I got that update from John.
And so for the
this morning.
public's, just be clear, that's where the health department is?
Yes, that
Yeah.
is for the
The health
remediation
department
of the.
building. Okay,
Yep.
good.
And then the other thing, I got a call from Tara Balliet at the Veteran Services, and they've had a couple of incidences with a couple of disgruntled veterans. So they would like to get your blessing. They would like to do a few security updates out there, put in, because they have a window out there, but you can't access it. It's not like a document window, so they want to put in a document window. They would like to, instead of using a key to actually get into their office, they'd like to set up electronic with a fob, so you're not fumbling around with a key. You swipe it, you get in. It's just extra security for them because of it's just the way the times are. I'm not saying that every veteran is this way, but they've had a couple of incidences and they just want to be secure out there. So, and they're not asking for any additional money. That's all money that they're going to be able to take out of their budget. So they do really good with their budget. So Tara said it's not any additional funding.
Thank her for bringing it to our attention.
They just want to make sure that their staff is safe out there, and you know, you never know. I mean, there is usually a deputy out there for Job and Family Services, but again, you have to leave the office to get to the hallway to get to that person. So it would just be an easier solution to do a couple of security upgrades out there, some cameras and things like that. So.
Good idea.
I also want to let you know that we are starting to receive a lot of bills for the move for the CSB building. I believe we are going to be well beyond that $25,000 that we put in place for that move. Buckeye IT, for their part of moving all the internet and helping with the phones and all of that, that bill was almost $15,000. So.
Yeah, they were out there a long time.
Yeah. So just so that you're aware, if we come back ask for some more money, it's just because we need to cover, because we also have to move them back.
Right.
So I did want, I've got a couple of good things that have happened recently. I would like to put a shout out to Sycamore Telephone Company for receiving that $5 million for the broadband study.
Huge.
That's huge, exactly. So I have that. I also have Camp Pittinger out in McCutcheonville. They're being considered by the Ohio Historic Site Preservation Advisory Board for nomination to the National Register of Historic Places. The advisory board will meet on September 22nd in Columbus to determine if they get that on board to be put on as a historic site.
Is there anything we can do to help them, like a letter of recommendation or a?
Remember you talked about your daughters going over it. Yeah.
I've not, they welcome comments, so we might be able to put something together for them. I know they've come in and done some presentations and
Letter of support or something?
yeah, it doesn't really, this was just kind of a CC to us from the Ohio History Connection, to let us know that they have been nominated, so, or being considered, so, I don't know if it would help, but we could always offer our support to that.
You're nodding a little bit.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I would say forward to me. I mean, it wouldn't hurt maybe to sign on to something that just says we support this.
Yep.
It's a great candidate for that.
Could that open them up for additional grants, or I mean,
Probably. Yeah, I would think so.
see if they can give them a little bit of a push?
Yeah, I like it.
You good with the voting machines? They have that all?
Yes.
Did they 100% get back to us?
I have not heard back from them, but I believe,
I think it's good, yeah.
I believe that the
that's
process
good.
with that is, they'll start moving those machines next week.
Monday. It'll be Monday, right?
Yep.
So, for the public, the CSB building, you know where the Board of Elections is and the prosecutor on the right side, in the basement, they have all the voting machines. There's
180 of them.
180 voting machines. And with all that dust, we went, I think we reported this last week, we went to the Board of Elections and I went and talked to them, and offered the public safety building out at the fairgrounds. So they haven't heard for sure, but I think they're headed there.
I
right?
think so.
They've got-
I have not heard
There
any
was some
anymore.
things that had to be worked out, but because we did get confirmation,
Yeah.
the work crew's gonna move.
Yep. Yeah,
So we want to shout out to the Sheriff's Department. They're going to take all the voting machines from the basement of the building that were below the Health Department. We're going to move them all out to the fairgrounds, to the public safety building, which is a perfect spot for them. And they will remain there through the election, because they need to, I didn't realize this, they start September 7th, testing all those machines.
Updating the
And
software.
then it's lock and key, nobody can get in there, and it's perfect, because it's all secure, and cameras, and so,
It's a block building. It's a civil defense building, so it should be.
yeah, right. And so that's happening, there's just a lot of displacement, and there's, the cost here to the taxpayers is very, very minimal, because the sheriff's crew is going to be doing the moving, and the Board of Elections is kind of helping out. And it's good. So that falls under one of the things you have to do.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
The other two things, the last two things that I do have, I had a request again from the auditor's office, Julie, in regards to computers for her office. I know we had tabled that a few months ago. It looks like, from the information I have, it will be roughly $10,500. Unless this quote, she was checking with Buckeye IT to make sure that this quote was still valid. But her computers are really slowing down. They use, I mean, it's a nonstop thing over there. So I think
Is that one of the computers you used to use?
probably.
And screw page on
Probably,
it,
yeah.
get moving, yeah.
So I think we need to probably get this in order sooner rather than later.
So is that something you want to do?
I think it's necessary. I just want to make sure that the quote is valid and make sure that we provide with the correct dollar amount to the general fund portion of it. So
Yeah, so we're in budget season. You're plowing away. One of the things in a perfect world, which would be nice, is we don't spend any money until we have everything the way we want it. As far as inventory of assets, we develop a plan, how to replace them, that kind of thing. So this would happen eventually anyhow.
Correct.
Is what you're saying. As long as it needs to be done. I'm okay with doing it, and just so we continue forward with what we're trying to do with
Yeah.
our assets.
yeah, and
Did Buckeye IT
Computers,
deem it that they need
vehicles.
replaced?
they are 5.5 years old maybe. So more than likely they do. I can speak from experience when I was over there. One of the computers that I worked on had to have additional memory put in it, and they said it was just kind of get us through till we can actually get new computers. So it's just one of those. Technology changes all the time, so
And that's a good point. So what we're trying to do is, just because it's 5 years old, doesn't mean we're buying new computers. I mean, it's more of a need, but so we're gonna talk about that. I know Don has some EMS vehicles that have 20, 30,000 miles on them, and they're 8, 9 years old, and they look brand new. So the age of the vehicle or the computer versus isn't necessarily always a
Right.
reason to
Right.
get rid of it and buy a new one. So I think it's good. We've talked about this a few times. That falls under your
What do we do with the old ones?
authorization.
I believe Buckeye usually takes them and recycles
Scrap
or
those out.
scraps them out. I'm not really sure of that process, the disposal process, so.
You might want to just ask them, just so we know.
I didn't know if we're allowed to give them to like youth organizations or if somebody could put them, I just hate throwing stuff away if it
Right, right.
Might not work up to their standard, but for somebody that wants to do homework or
Right. I could check into it, see what kind of disposal process we have, so.
Okay.
The last thing I have, just so you're aware, we're starting to get applications for the hunting out at the south of town there. I know we have had discussions in
We
the
can make
past.
this real easy, I think.
Um,
I'm gonna make a motion that we, making a motion right now that we do not allow hunting on county property. We vetted this out, and so how's that
second the
stand?
motion.
Okay, now we have a first and a second. Let's talk about it. Okay. I'm gonna make my statement because I've been here the longest. Several years ago, it seemed at one point the hunting rights on county property, there were just a few families that hunted. It just kind of happened and it was not a big deal. I don't know if it's the times, but in the last 4 or 5 years, woods and hunting and demand and pressure and request have really gotten up there. I spoke with the sheriff. When we allow a person to hunt, they usually bring 5 or 6 or sometimes 8 people with them. And now you have a group here and a group there and a group here, and it's a small area. And so what we did last year, which I 100% supported, there was a family that had hunted at our property for a long time, and we grandfathered them in. We said you could hunt on our property last season, correct me if I'm wrong, we didn't allow anybody else to hunt there. And then we said that we would discuss it further. We then had a couple discussions about, like what the Miller Farm does, maybe having a handicap hunt there, having a youth hunt there, having veterans hunt there, having a drawing of some sort to hunt there. I spoke with the sheriff. I don't know who I spoke with, but we talked about it. And we felt that the size of the property and the liability and just all the moving parts, the policing of it, would just be really hard to do. So, unfortunately, we're talking guns and county property, and I'm a hunter, and I 100%, but I think in this case, that's my take on it. I would oppose it. So anybody else, that's the history. If anybody wants to add anything. Jimmy, did I say that fairly?
Yeah.
Well, you're good? I
Yeah.
just want to make sure everybody's clear on
And
how we
I
got
know,
here.
and I know, it's becomes a big liability, and Corsa is not in favor of that as well.
always about
So,
Yeah.
You good, Commissioner?
Tom, you look like you want to say something.
Hey,
hunting mushrooms?
we're okay with that.
I just had to think about it.
I can see him back here. I was like, he wants to
So
say
the
something.
question is, can we hunt mushrooms? So we ought to, this is,
You want to amend your motion?
this is, how do we define hunting? This would be,
animal
Animal,
hunt,
yeah.
animal
Animal
hunting.
critter
Wildlife
hunting,
hunting, whatever,
Department
anything
of
pertaining to,
Ohio hunting license needed.
What if we get a groundhog problem?
It's a good point.
farmer will take care of that, yes.
So pest and that kind of thing, that's always different. So I'll give you a good example, the public can hear this too. So the airport, at times will have a deer problem. There'll be deer out on the runway, and it's not hunting season, but they can get a special permit to control those deers, take those deer out at the end of the runway for safety purposes. So there's always an exception, but that would be an exception and have a separate resolution or permit with the sheriff's permit, and the department, the DNR and that kind of thing, so.
The deer are coming further and further into town. I think they come
Yeah.
in from St. Francis and then down Kraut School. I mean, I've had it in my front yard, and I'm 200 yards from downtown.
Yeah, it's just,
It's that salt block you got out there, Tyler.
So we have a first and a second. Any other discussion on this? Okay, let's roll call.
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
No.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes. So yes
Motion
means
passed.
no hunting, right?
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
got it. All right, next.
That's all I had for my administrative report.
Okay, any old business? You good? All right, back into new business, supplemental appropriations.
I have several requests for the general fund. I'll go through these quickly because they're all for the grant from the grant for the Board of Election that they received from the Secretary of State for a special election. They are requesting $36,000 in salaries for precinct workers, $5,000 in salaries for employees, $1,070 for PERS, $100 for Medicare, $2,000 for equipment, and $19,000 for supplies, and $18,000 for contract services. And then I have a few requests for the ambulance service fund, $500,000 for salaries, $7,250 for Medicare, $70,000 for PERS, and $4,950 for software license and services. The salaries, Medicare and OPERS is just to get them through the rest of the year. We received our payment from the Joint Ambulance District, so we're going to use that money to pay the salaries for the rest of the year. And the $4,950 for the software license is for drug boxes that they're gonna start using, or they're working towards getting, but they have to pay for a software license too. I think there's an app, there's
Yeah, it's
computer
high tech.
program that they know when they get in the box, who's gotten in the box.
So is this a box at the station, or is this a
No,
box
it's
on
in
the
the
truck?
vehicles.
It's on the
vehicle itself.
vehicles.
Goes on
Okay,
the
like a-
the vehicles, yeah. And what's cool about it, if you're in an area that doesn't have Wi-Fi, when you get into Wi-Fi, there's a battery in it, and it still reads it. Yeah, and it's kind of a neat setup. I know this, that Don reported that out at the joint meeting. So I was privileged to hear the presentation, so I think it's good. Well, I'll make a motion, we approve the sub-apps as presented.
I'll second.
Now, discussion, any other discussion at this point,
You
Commissioner?
might have said it, Barb, but what was the portion of the Secretary of State covered for the special
It's,
election?
it's just it was for the special election in general. It covered the poll workers, the employees' salaries, because there was additional time that was for the special election.
So this is basically, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it covered. It covers pretty much all of that.
Good.
So, and I believe the equipment might have been a new computer.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
Good question. One more comment for the public on this EMS salary scenario. So the paid EMS personnel that we have through Seneca County are being paid by the county.
Correct.
So we've fronted the money, and we've been paying these personnel all throughout our county. The tax levy that was passed by the new district, the 16 entities plus Green Springs, they received their money in March, and we did a true-up that was paid through the end of
June 30th.
June 30th. So they had the money in the bank, and so we did a true-up, and the county had accumulated $530,000 worth of salary, benefits, insurance for all the paid personnel in EMS. So we fronted that money. It came out of our account. They passed it and wrote us a check. We received it, so they paid us back all that salary, which is great. The next time that date happens is December 1st, right?
Correct.
We agree on December 1st. So we will have a 5-month period, so because the month of December, they need to wrap everything up. And then what happens next year? We don't do a catch-up?
So we'll do a catch-up for December when we
Like
do.
February or something?
Well, I believe we're just including it when we do the June true-up.
Yeah, so it'll be June, it'll be a 7-month.
Yeah.
So then it'll be 7-month payroll, 5-month payroll, 7-month,
Yeah.
5-month.
Yeah.
And it's county and auditor, everybody's happy. And so, nice job. Those are things, Kayla, that we had to talk about. Those are operational things that basically Matt, fiscal officer, and Barb here, and Julie, the auditor, had to figure out how that all worked. And then, so that's a big step. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a huge accomplishment towards the way this is gonna work, so, good to see. Yeah. Anybody else any other comment?
No.
We're on this, okay, roll call?
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
Then I have resolutions. Resolution authorizing fund advance repayment for the Wolf Creek ditch to the general fund. This is basically the loan that was taken out when real estate taxes get settled, we just pay back the money to the general fund that was part of that Wolf Creek loan.
It's kind of like we saw about the ditch when they was in last week, kind of fronted that. This is what was done.
Yeah, we're close to paying that.
I
Pay
believe
back
so, I'd
the
have
full.
to look at the numbers,
Yeah,
but I
it should be
believe
real
so.
close.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Second?
We approve this. Second, any discussion, Commissioner? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
I have a resolution authorizing the agreement contract with Maximus U.S. Services Incorporated for cost allocation services for the fiscal years 2023, 2024, and 2025.
Okay.
So moved?
Second. Second, Commissioner Schaaf. Discussion. This will be your first time through this process, right?
On this side, yes.
On this
I've
side?
been through this
Yeah,
process,
okay, well,
so-
good. So, my understanding of this, and I'm just gonna use the health department as an example, okay, because the county owns the buildings, and then we have job and family and health department.
EMS,
whatever,
EMA, yeah, there's a list
So
of
we do a
them.
cost, we pay a third party to come in and do a cost allocation. They take all utilities,
Mm-hmm.
cleaning, insurance, they'll figure everything out per building, they'll break it down per square foot, and they'll give it to us, and then we'll go through maybe a lease renewal kind of a scenario, right, with that information.
Yeah, so the Board of Health is on a lease, so they are really part of the cost allocation, but it's
It's
part
kind of
of, it rolls in.
When it renews.
Yeah, but EMS, EMA, they pay direct that cost allocation.
So this is part of our budget then. So as you do as you bake this in, overhead, you
Yep.
charge each of those.
Yep,
Okay. And it's every 3 years.
yep.
Yeah, this is new for us, but it's good. Is that the company we used before you?
Yes, we've
Yeah.
used them
Jimmy's not? Okay, I just didn't.
for as
We're
long
good.
back, as far back as I can remember, we've used them.
Any discussion? Any more questions? Roll call.
Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. Always something new.
Resolution authorizing the expenditure of non-general funds for late service charge unable to be removed from the Seneca County Engineer Aqua Ohio invoice.
So moved.
Second?
Why are we having these things? It seems like we
Um,
never have them. Like, I don't, for 4 years, we never
Per
have.
ORC,
Oh, we're cleaning
it's a
everything up.
requirement
Yeah.
that the commissioners approve any late charges or interest.
Right.
And before it was just court ordered, and now the auditor's office is requiring these. And this dollar amount is $11.21.
So if I'm someone in the public, I would be like, why are we paying this? We shouldn't have been charged it. They won't remove it. So, and I think the answer is we use that on the one with EMA. Sometimes it's the procedure, the way we went about it. Like in one case, we didn't show that we didn't present the tax exempt document at the time of the charge. So I think when these come up, they're very rare. Could be human error at some point, and sometimes it's just happens. But we obviously don't like to see this.
Well, for the most part, almost all late charges get taken off. You can
Yeah,
call
so
them
why are
and
they-
deal with them. And
Yeah.
Aqua Ohio is a very difficult vendor to try to remove any interest or late fees of any kind. So they were able to remove a portion of the late fee, but this is all what remains that they would not remove.
So does this pertain to the sewer district? What's it
No,
pertain-
this is actually for the engineer's office, and more than likely what happened was the check got to them. It was issued in time, but it wasn't processed on their end in time, so it automatically charges that late fee and
They have the mail too, the mail.
yeah,
and all
so
that.
The departments are very good about making sure that their payments are in enough time to even cover that mail,
I
but
would say
sometimes,
Mark would be on top.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, no.
For
Yeah,
sure.
so
This
he's-
probably drives him
It
more
does, it
crazy than
does.
us, and it's
Right.
driving me pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so this is like the third one we've done in a couple of weeks, so it's, but yes, it's just an ORC that we aren't, as a county, we're not eligible, we're not required to pay interest or late fees, or shouldn't pay them, and then,
So commissioners have to say it's okay.
yeah, in order for it to be
And
paid.
if we don't, then it just stays there and accumulates, and they charge us more late fees on the
Yeah,
late fee.
probably,
Yeah.
so,
Okay, I've said enough on this stuff. That drives me crazy.
I know, same here.
What do you think? Sandy too?
I'm not gonna comment.
Yeah. Hey, you got apartments and stuff, you know how late fees work. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
This is a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. This one is for, it looks like all of the ones that are on the mental health, the health district, excuse me, the Commission on Aging, and then there's a second one here for mental health and recovery.
Were you at the last budget commission? I missed that.
Yes.
They probably would have talked about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you two, we were gone. Okay. So, okay,
So move.
second. Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
Last resolution I have, authorizing the First Amendment of Exhibit B, Electricity Purchasing Program of the CCAO-SC Energy Agreement with CCAO Services Corporation.
What's that? What are they locking us into? Do you know how many years or what?
It's a 5-year, I believe. This is just a rate increase. I brought it up, maybe not last meeting, the meeting before. We were going to .001 to .0013 or something. It's a minimal amount.
Per kilowatt?
Yeah.
We never did ask for how long. That's-
Yeah, and I have to look.
I think
Electric
that,
rates are
I
going
think
through the
they
roof.
have to, I
I
don't
think
know.
that goes in effect like 2025.
2025.
So we're just getting
So
lined
this
up,
is
but
just
then
so
it-
that-
then
yes.
it will be a 3 or 5 year contract.
Yes, so,
Yeah, so they have to get,
well, and I can tell you that this has never been increased in 14 years.
Yeah.
So it stays in effect until they need to increase the rate again. I don't know that there's an actual, term.
yeah, that, we'll have to ask that in 2025.
Yes, this agreement shall be extended for an additional renewal term of 5 years upon written consent of
There
both
you go.
parties.
So what's happening, so the public knows, this was a interesting conversation we all learned. So in the CCAO, County Commissioners Association of Ohio, we have almost 60 to 70 counties that are part of this. So Palmer is putting this big contract together for, let's just say it's January 1 of 2025. And so they need all 60 or 70 counties to pass these resolutions. They're getting this whole thing put together so that in 2025, the new contract will all be vetted out, will all be approved, and then we can move forward. So this is preliminary behind the scene work that's being done. That's my total understanding. That's how we had it explained. And the Commissioner's point, it'll be, when we do sign, it'll be for 5 years. The 5-year clock hasn't started yet. I guess that's what I'm saying. Okay, until they get it all together, and then it'll be 2025, the 5-year clock will start. It does seem kind of early, but they have to, all the regulatory filings and.
Right, because you get about
There's a lot
all
to
that
it,
stuff.
yeah.
Yes.
So we were explained that.
in a meeting with Palmer. And so I'm good with it.
That's a good rate. I just know I've gotten calls here over the summer from dozens of tenants because the electric's going through the roof. Some people are paying up to 0.13 cents per kilowatt, and you can negotiate some of those down. But I just right now with the different wars on energy and stuff, some people's electric bills are close to doubling, and it doesn't sound like a lot when you're talking cents per kilowatt, but it really adds up.
Yeah. Okay, any other discussion on this one? We have a first and a second, right?
No, we need a first and a
Okay,
second.
so moved. Second. We now do. Guess we jumped into the discussion right away. It was kind of robust there, yeah. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Chef,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. Yeah, some of these things get a little, there's more to it. Okay, so Jimmy, I think that concludes,
Yes, and I have John Spar who wanted to go first during public comment, just an update on some of the weather stuff. So John, I've got you as a co-host. Yeah,
let's
so
have
is it okay if John goes?
John can go.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Jen.
Okay, so with the weather overnight, depending on where you were in Seneca County, you got anywhere from 3 to 7 inches of water last night in a very short amount of time. Of course, we're still under a warning for flash flooding. I know Rock Creek is still rising a little bit. Heidelberg has put out a message warning anybody who has parked in those lower lots to move their cars because Rock Creek could flood that lot very easily. Right now, power outages, we have just shy of 1,000 power outages in the county across all 3 of our power providers. The majority of those is with AEP, and they expect to have all of that power restored no later than 1:30 today. So lucky, because the real heat and discomfort of the day starts around noon and runs through 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. So people will get their power back on, hopefully. The biggest impact right now is that overnight there were 5 families at a campground, homeless families at a campground in Republic, 3 who were in tents and 2 that were in RVs that had the tents washed away. They're without a place to stay, and so we're working with Red Cross, United Way, Seneca County Homeless Coalition, and the Salvation Army to try and find some resources for them. Like I said, localized flooding reported. People don't drive through standing water. There's plenty of standing water on the roadways in Seneca County right now. Be careful. Don't be traveling so fast that when you cross over that hill or that rise, that you get right into standing water without being able to see it first. As far as the heat for today, of course, if people need, I'm going to do this on a need-by-need basis, but get people into cooling centers around the county depending on where they are and what their mobility is. But we are opening the training room for the day. There's Wi-Fi, electricity, and of course the AC will be on here. So if somebody needs to escape the heat, their power hasn't come back on, or they lose their AC and need to get out of that sweltering heat throughout the day, they can come to the public safety building. I'll be manning that room until it's no longer needed. And so we're still under the heat advisory till 9 o'clock tonight, flash flooding until 9 p.m. tonight, a flash flooding a watch until 9 o'clock tonight. And flood warnings, there's actually 2 of them active. I don't know why. They say pretty much the same thing. One says till 10:15 a.m. tomorrow morning it will expire, and another one's expiring at 1 o'clock p.m. today. So I think what it was is yesterday the first one was put up that said 1 o'clock today, and then overnight they put up another one instead of extending the first one to 10:15 tomorrow. So just keep an eye out. Lots of water in basements around the county, and of course flooded backyards, et cetera, et cetera. As far as the heat goes, I just want to let people know, make sure you have water on you. Make sure you drink enough even if you're not thirsty. Know the signs of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Call 911 if necessary. And keep an eye on your neighbors and your pets. Don't forget about your pets, especially pets outside. If they're outdoor pets, make sure they have shelter and water. If not, if you can't bring them in the house, if you can, bring them inside where they can stay cool. And that's all I've got.
Hey, John, are they talking about maybe some more storms rolling in tonight? Did you mention that at all?
There's a chance of rain here at in about 10 minutes or so. It's supposed to rain again, and it does say threat of thunderstorm, but it is less than a half an hour long, and then another one this evening after 6 o'clock. But again, it's about a half an hour. But I've noticed that those things change by the hour, so I'm keeping an eye on the forecast.
Very good.
Hey, John, real nice report. Thanks for that update. Anything else, Commish?
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Do we know when the river's going to cross?
Thank you.
Right.
No, I don't. Okay, Jimmy, do we, Presley wants to get her in?
Yep, and then we can go back on.
Come on up, welcome.
Hi.
Is this your little report?
Yeah,
Good.
got lots of things for you here.
You already know all the good news, right?
So I'm going to give an update for our whole office, so I'll start with 4-H. Oh, for everyone who doesn't know, I'm Presley Verma, the A&R educator through the Ohio State University Extension. So the 4-H update is the annual Grade A celebration is this Sunday, August 27th at the Sentinel Career and Technology Center. It's a banquet to celebrate and recognize and thank all of our junior fair members on all of their hard work throughout the year on their projects, as well as tenured volunteers. There's dinner, entertainment by Animal Magic, awards, scholarships, a silent auction, door prizes, and lots of activities. They have over 150 people registered to date. And if any of you want to attend, here's a flyer. You are all encouraged and welcome to attend that. And from Snap Ed, they are currently hosting their Cooking Matters in Fostoria at the food pantry. It's a 6-week series sharing ways to shop on a budget, how to add more fruits and vegetables in a healthy meal plan. Snap Ed is also hosting adult programming at various sites in both Fostoria and Tiffin for the remainder of August and September. And so then my update, the Seneca County Master Gardeners, I've been working a lot with them, and they are currently planning their 25th anniversary celebration, which I have another flyer here for you all. It's September 24th from 1 to 4 at the Seneca County Fairgrounds, and we encourage you all to attend. And if any of the commissioners would like to speak at that, just shoot me an email and let me know, and I can let you know what time that you can come and speak. The Master Gardeners are also currently accepting applications for their 2024 intern class. So there's a lot of really awesome workshops and trips that we already have planned. One of them being possibly going to the Botanical Gardens in Toledo and working with some people to talk about propagation, insects, the spotted lanternfly, all that fun stuff that's happening right now. If anybody is interested in joining the 2024 intern class, just email me or call our office, and more information can be found on our office's website, which is seneca.osu.edu. Some things that I've been doing, I just finished my soil health sampling research through eFields for the university, which was testing fields for soybean cyst nematodes. These are just roundworms that affect the root system, and the beans, it's hard for the beans to grow. So we got all those reports back, and the farmers that had their soil tested have their reports. I've already gone over them, and we had better results than I thought, so that was really good. This coming week, I will be driving around the entire county looking at 80 to 100 soybean fields, and I'm looking at what weeds are in the fields and what level of infestation is the weeds in the fields. All that data will go back to the university in our weed science department, and they'll use that in the coming year as we look at different ways to prevent weeds, specifically in soybean fields. Farm science review is coming up. Here's this. If anybody is interested in that, it's the 19th to the 21st. You purchase tickets online. There's a QR code on the flyer. It's also posted on our website. And I will be there on Wednesday working in the pesticide application booth as well as the livestock booth, so I'll get to pet cows. And then, let's see, this weekend, here's another one. is my speaking event for the month at the Farmers Market. It's the 26th from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock. It's just right out here. The OSU tent will be, okay, the OSU tent will be in the parking lot. And I will be talking about raising poultry at 9 o'clock. And then we'll be talking about the Tree of Heaven at 10:30, African Violets at 11, and then joining Master Gardeners, what they do, who we are, what we do for the county, and how to join at noon. And then I have the how to become a Master Gardener flyer there. And that's all I have for you.
Wow.
Very good. Nice job.
So are we seeing much palmer in the area? I mean, after, I guess, a follow-up from your travel around soybean. So Palmer amaranth is a very invasive species.
Correct. I haven't seen a whole lot. Most of my outside of the road of 224 traveling will be next week. I wanted to do it today, but it's a little wet outside and a little flooded, so I don't think I'm going to get to that today. But what I've seen on 224, we really haven't had much of that. A lot of the weeds that we're seeing is volunteer corn.
So, as my experience as a township trustee, one of the toughest decisions we all have when we're elected is make tough decisions. Is we in Adams Township had a field that was out of control with palmer, and it spreads, and once you get it, it's hardly any chemicals will tackle it. So, we had to work with Prosecutor Devine, and they had to go destroy a soybean field and stuff on that about this time of year to take care of the weeds out of that. And that was a big pill to swallow, but it was, we tried every other way, because for one thing, they didn't have any of the chemistry that's available now in there, and it just because when you have invasive species, I mean, there's Ohio Revised Code that you need to maintain, and so that was one of the toughest calls they had to make. We got 2 farmers sitting on the board, and I mean, it would be tough to make that call on that, but that was one of the toughest decisions we've ever had to make at my township experience stuff with it. So yes,
I've never heard that.
yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for the report.
Thank you.
Great report again, yeah.
You have a lot going on.
Yeah.
I could tell you like your job. So how long
I
have you
do.
been here? April, was it? What
May
month?
8th
May.
was my official
Yeah.
start date, so I'm still new.
Yeah. Tony's still saying that, yeah, and he's been here 3 years.
That is true,
Yeah,
yeah.
he just got on, right?
You're hitting the ground running.
Right. Well, thank you guys.
Yep, thank you.
That's great. Nice report. Adam, anything?
Anybody else want to say anything? You good? Come on up. Adam Gilmore.
Yep, Adam Gilmore, Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership. Just want to do a quick announcement regarding the Dream Big Tiffin process. We launched that yesterday. So the Dream Big Tiffin process is our primary way of sorting and collecting community development project ideas from folks within the city limits of Tiffin and organizations that serve the city limits of Tiffin. This is an incredibly important process for our grant programs. Particularly looking at CDBG, the City of Tiffin receives a $150,000 allocation on that, and it requires a community development implementation strategy, which is basically just significant amounts of public input within that community development process. The Dream Big Tiffin kind of serves that point of contact for us. So from now until September 20th, we'll be accepting new project ideas on dreambigtiffin.com. After that, beginning on September 27th and running through November 1st, we will be having the public feedback portion of that process. So if you have an idea, if you have a project that either you or your organization has been working on, you live within the city limits of Tiffin or you serve the city limits of Tiffin, please check out Dream Big Tiffin and submit that project. We want to hear everything that you have to say about, are we doing everything correctly? And if this is your idea, why is it a great idea? Where is it at in the process of being completed? Again, dreambigtiffin.com through September 20th. So, thank you.
Just a follow-up, you say for that, the application is for the CBG, they're through the Dream Big Tiffin, correct? Or is it
That is not the
process?
application. So, it's the public feedback mechanism that we use for CDBG. So when CDBG, that will be happening, that application will be due June next year. So this is kind of the start of that process as we begin looking at what the community's needs are as identified by the public. and then what projects are out there that may be eligible for that CDBG funding.
And then do you approach, or how do they?
It depends. So sometimes the city of Tiffin, or a body of the city of Tiffin, will submit a project under Dream Big Tiffin. So last year, our current CDBG is the pilot program at the community kitchen. That's a separate organization, so we had to approach them and say, hey, we think this is eligible for some funding. Are you interested? And if so, then it's a discussion between city council, who makes that decision on what the ultimate CDBG project is, and that organization. But if it's a city project and they decide, say they want to do a park in a low to moderate income area, or a census tract, then that park improvement project is just a discussion within the city, and we use that public feedback still from the Dream Big process to kind of say, here's what the community is looking for. We have to show that we have done that, and we've looked at it and taken it into account, and then submit that along with the application.
Very good. Thank
A lot of words for not a whole lot of content.
Great,
but
great.
That's how it is. Thank you.
You like your new location?
Oh, yes,
Get settled
that
pretty
is an
well.
important thing to mention. I don't know if you've had the chance
Yeah.
yet. TCEP is now on the first floor of 96 South Washington Street in our new space. Please, feel free to check it out. It's,
Getting along with Bryce and company down there?
Hey, they're up front. I don't have to, act as receptionist anymore. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Do you park in the back?
No.
No, so you
No,
guys park in the lot?
there is parking back there, but I believe it's mostly for tenants and customer, or, clients, folks who come in.
Yeah.
There are 2 new businesses that are going to be moving it upstairs at some point, and, their clients will probably be able to use that parking. We have handicap accessible parking. The building is fully handicap accessible now. It certainly was not before, as I'm sure anyone who
Yeah.
climbed up those stairs knows. So it's a
Elevator,
significant
you come in
improvement.
the back, use the elevator if you
Yeah.
want to, or whatever.
Yep, and we have a ramp that comes right up from the parking lot in the back now, directly to that back door, so that, handicapped
Yeah, that's nice.
individuals, someone in a wheelchair can access that elevator easily now and get up to those upper floors, which was not possible
That turned out
previously.
really nice.
Like a nice boardroom in there, and
Yeah, and I believe Bryce put out the invitation,
Yeah.
I believe it's also on September 20th. We will be having a ribbon cutting and open house to show off the new space. We're still getting settled, we're mostly in there, but
We have something.
Looks good from the pictures.
Township, no, township's 14th, South Township. That's downtown,
That's
for the 14th,
downtown.
yeah,
So
that's
the-
what same as.
That's that's just that's not a TCEP annual meeting or anything?
no,
Just
that
a ribbon
is,
cutting. So
that
we
is
can
just
do
the ribbon
that.
cutting for our members. We
Like
do
at
have
5 on the 20th?
Yeah, I
I
don't,
believe it's at 4. They can do the ribbon
On
cutting
that.
at 4.
The 14th is the downtown meeting at the Chandelier.
Yeah,
That's the
and
same
that's
as
what we have the
township.
township.
Right.
The
exact
Main
same
Street
time.
celebration.
Main Street celebration.
Yeah,
yes,
5 to
yes.
7, okay. So the 20th, I do not have that on my calendar.
yeah, should be a good event, but
Yeah.
thanks for the time today.
Yep, you bet, thank you. So Adam, just a little, so Presley was kind of out touring the county, so I took her over to the other Gilmores and stuff, and they was harvesting pickles and stuff at that time, so that, yeah, so that would be
She's right
another
here.
cousin.
She's got her own.
That's all right.
Did you get some sweet corn? That's the most important question.
And now that's done, yesterday was it.
done.
Yep,
I'm
that's-
absolutely heartbroken.
Right.
Yeah, and the Weirs, we talked about that. I live right there.
Kenny Hack, Hack Farm. That's where I live. They're all, it's amazing. They just, how that works.
And I did verify, John, the power's on, you're good to go to plug in whatever you need to do out here, so.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Jimmy, anybody online?
Yeah, if you're with us on Zoom and you'd like to come forward, you can unmute right now and do that.
We good? I think the quote of the day is Mr. Breidenbaugh. There's no honey. And the question is, can you hunt mushrooms? That is very intuitive. Let's see, that's called wisdom. That's been around a little bit. I think we can hunt mushrooms, but we have to probably have a resolution saying we can hunt mushrooms. That's all it's government now. Okay, any change on the calendar going forward? We're good?
Not at this time. Do just want to remind everybody that EMS open house is Saturday from 10 to 2 out at the Public Safety Building. They're going to have equipment and personnel, and the building is open.
How did we
And I
miss
think
it?
you're having like hot dogs and.
Yeah, they're doing hot dogs and-
So, right.
So this Saturday, 10 to 2, EMS open house. By the way, in the paper, I saw the Tiffin City Council recognize first responders
Yeah.
for a life-saving event, and Chris, our Echo paramedic, was in that picture.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So I don't know how that happened, but he must have been on the scene.
He I think at one point he worked for the city.
Well, he was, so
Does he work both places, pick some hours up, or?
his role in that was,
Yeah.
He saw the vehicle that they're, with the baby, he saw the vehicle too and was tailing it, and he called that into the sheriff's office. And he was, I think he was on duty too, because they're also a Tiffin officer.
So he was
So
part
as
of
a
the whole-
citizen, he
Yeah.
was being honored essentially for.
I don't know if he was on duty or not.
Okay.
I don't know.
But still.
I just know he was involved with, like, yeah.
It was pretty cool to see how
Courageous,
everybody,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
got together, but I
Yeah.
did notice that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. And we are going to have a groundbreaking ceremony on Wednesday at 5:30 out at for the new EMS building. And so that's kind of exciting. A
Very
formal groundbreaking out there.
We have the shovels ready?
Shovels are ready, and I haven't, but this is a reminder to me. But we've got the green light. I've got to get with Mike Steyer and Derek to begin discussion on EMS too, right? That land agreement. It's laying on my desk, so I did not do anything with that. But I
Give it
think
one
we're
job,
ready.
Tony, look what happened.
Yeah, I know.
Right, right, yeah.
Ooh. But we will get it done, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
we're
it's
good.
exciting, yeah. Okay, hearing nothing else, right? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.